Do you sometimes feel a little bit held back in ministry because you think your knowledge of Scripture is limited and you just wouldn't be able to fulfill what you're called to? And so, in a sense, it's kind of holding you back, it's preventing you from moving forward. Well, I want to encourage you with a story from the Bible of a man who did have limited knowledge, but he didn't let it hold him back. And in fact, he even had people come to him to help him understand things even better. Welcome to the channel. I trust that God is mightily blessing you. And today is the 18th of June 2026. Okay, I want to look at this story because I do think a lot of us can sometimes feel we're just not up to the task of what God has called us to do. We feel we just haven't quite achieved a level of knowledge that would make us feel confident. But let me just read to you, and it's only a few scriptures. And I want to talk, maybe just give a couple of things that I believe will encourage you. And it's about a man called Apollos, and we find him in Acts chapter 18. And I'll just begin in verse 24. Now, a certain Jew named Apollos, born at Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus. Let me just stop there for a second. It says this man was mighty in the scriptures. But as we're going to read further, we're going to find he was limited in what he knew. So, what does it mean, mighty in the scriptures? I was starting to think about that, and it kind of made me stop. And I thought, well, hang on a minute. You know, I couldn't quite understand it at first. But then I started to think about myself. Now, I think I'm pretty well versed in the scriptures, and I'm quite decent at memorising scriptures chapter and verse. And there's from many, many books in the Bible, I can quote from them. But just because I can quote many scriptures, that doesn't mean to say I fully understand them or can give you some deep teaching, great depth about them. It just means that I can quote them. Now, again, you might be able to teach at length on some topics or verses, but others you just really don't have much of a clue. So we can be mighty in scriptures, but not necessarily have that deep knowledge. And I just want to quickly apologise. It looks like there's a glare in my glasses, but and the lighting's not perfect here. But anyway, so we've got this man. Now, look what the scripture says about him. He came to Ephesus. This man had been instructed in the way of the Lord. So he had received instruction, he'd received teaching, and being fervent in spirit. Fervent, he was zealous, key. Fervent in spirit, he spoke and taught accurately the things of the Lord, though he knew only the baptism of John. So he was very limited in a certain way, but it didn't stop him. He was fervent, he was zealous, and he taught accurately within the confines of what he knew. Some of us might be new Christians, but you will find new Christians who are absolutely fervent, they're zealous. And this is what happened to me when I first got saved. Often I would go into places and I was extremely limited in what I could say. I mean, I knew the basic, simple gospel, but I was fervent about it. You see, sometimes maybe that's all it needs. You step out and you do something with what you have got. Just use it. God will increase your knowledge. He will send people to help you. And this is exactly what happened with Apollos. So he began to speak boldly in the synagogue. When Aquila and Priscilla heard him, they took him aside and explained to him the way of God more accurately. So God sent a couple of people, Aquila and Priscilla, to help him understand things a bit better. Okay, so I just want to stop on this for a minute because this pulled me up also. See, there's many people out there right now on social media, and some not on social media, maybe they're just walking the streets, but they're doing their very best with what they have. They're limited, and in some cases, they are clueless about certain other areas of Scripture, but they're teaching what they do have, they're getting it out there. How many times have you seen another believer who might be limited in his knowledge being attacked by other believers because they have that limited knowledge? Oh, he, she, they're talking about things they haven't got a clue about, or they're not talking about these things when they should be talking about these things. And so this division starts. We attack each other. And what does that do? It helps Satan enormously. How many times now look, I'm speaking as a man from experience. I used to carve everybody up because their standards just didn't meet the standard I expected. So I just carved them up. You know what? Sometimes I think, and it was true in my case, sometimes I think someday that there's nobody that will cut your throat quicker than a fellow brother or sister. And I was very guilty of that. Very guilty of that. How about we be like Priscilla and Aquila and maybe take somebody aside and teach them how to be a little bit more accurate, teach them a better way, as it says in some versions of the scriptures. We've got to stop this attacking each other. Even though we might be limited in knowledge, believe me, God can take, when you step out in faith, God can take that and you'd be amazed at what He can do with it. You've got a little, you're faithful, you just do what you can. And before you know it, God is giving you much, much more because He can trust you. He looks at you and says, you know what, even though that man, woman is very limited in their knowledge of me, they are doing their very best with a pure heart. So don't be discouraged if your knowledge is limited, because we are all limited in some way or other. Woe unto us if we ever think we've arrived. Let's not carve each other up, but let's take each other aside and help us to increase in our faith and knowledge. As the scripture says, iron sharpens iron. So that's a very brief message. I'm going to stop it there. But I just think it's something for us to meditate on. God bless you all. Until next time. Bye bye.